Blessings of peace. Blessings of peace and higher consciousness. All right. We are back. Blessings of peace, everybody. This is M. Tahuti Kamo with Comedic Legacy. The Comedic Legacy podcast is back. And we want to welcome everybody coming into the webinar room now. Everybody who's with us on our Facebook pages. Peace and blessings of peace. I see Brother Shechem Ramirez in the house. Oh, we've got a lot of folks here. Welcome, Ayoka and Effie, Kai Maati, Connie, and the DA. Divine Osirian, I would say, and Queen Cleopatra from Norfolk, Virginia. What's going on? Good to see you, Brother Gerald, and the ever-present one, Brother Nadal Safi from Brooklyn. Welcome, welcome, peace, everyone. Sharice, Eleanor, Nebatep in the house. Anita, Kess, if you're new with us, if you're first time here with the Comedic Legacy family, put a 1 in the chat for us right now. We're excited to see you. We have Sister Hakawa? Willie Dunn, Sefu Tepra, Penelope Bowie, welcome. Sifu from The Rock, we got Kubasa, Kate, Lenora. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Boy, we have a lot of people in the house here. Pull up a chair in the front row. Okay, good. We have Burns Richards, it looks like, his first time with us. Everybody give him some claps and fire. We have Arlene Williams, first time with us. Brother Amir, what's going on? John Lynch, Wade, Ucha, Machair, and Saul Coleman, first time. Peaceful, calm. It's your first time here. You're already peaceful and calm. That's what's happening. And Thomas Butler, Kate, first time. Kate Maximenka, welcome. Welcome to the Comedic Legacy family. Oh, we already have some testimonials in the chat. Wonderful. Yes, if you are not new to the powerful course, Union with God. If you have been through that, some of that course modules, if you've done some of those assignments, powerful assignments, develop those meditation scripts and perform some of those meditations, we definitely want to hear from you tonight. Put testimonial in the chat and type it out for us as concise as you can. Michael Francis, want to welcome you for your first time here. Come on in. We have Conrad, first time. Shajanta Johnson, first time. Where are y'all from? Put your location in the chat if you're new with us. Rashida Connor, brand new to Comedic Legacy. And Adwele, brand new. Welcome. All right, Maati Menwas, Arlene is in the house. Sheka Makaru is on fire. He's always excited about sharing this powerful wisdom. And we have Guyana in the house, first time. Germany is in the house. Chicago is in the house. Yes, Charleston, South Carolina. And we have Charlotte, North Carolina, brand new in the house, first time. Come sit in the front row. We're excited to see you, El Paso. We can't wait to share this with you because this is This is just such a powerful, powerful course. You're going to hear from some of our course members. And next week, we're going to have a continuation. We're going to have a live guided meditation by our master teacher, Raul Neframen, who's going to be joining us in just a moment. We got the UK in the house. Michael Francis, welcome. Anthony's brand new from DC on the YouTube. And yes, Anita, Ellen from San Jose, California is in the house. Bermuda's in the house. And we have and then Seshemsa. We've got Atlanta family is in the house. Beautiful. We've got some great things going on in Atlanta, y'all. And Trinidad, TNT is in the house. Beautiful. Tukwe, yes, our Soundwise ambassador. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Yes, joy and peace, blessings of peace. Well, let's get right into it. Oh, we have Shechem Kaimonti in the house. What's going on? Grand Moot. And Lenora's in the house. Alan. Jahan, welcome. Gotta, yes, okay. Founder of the chief officer of the African American Global Chamber of Commerce. Okay, we need to manifest some commerce. We're going to talk about that. And let's see here. Yes, beautiful. We are on Instagram right now live. I want to welcome the Instagram family on Ra'u Neframen's Instagram page, on the Sarset PA page. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook, and we are right in the room with those of you who registered for the webinar. And you will get a link if you're a course member after tonight to come into next Tuesday's guided meditation. It's going to be powerful as usual. So my job is to introduce a man who is very hard to introduce without taking 30 to 40 minutes if you want to list all of his many accomplishments and manifestations. Very dear to hundreds of people who are with us right now in the webinar room, and known throughout the world as the foremost authority on the understanding of the wisdom of our ancestors from the ancient civilizations of Kemet, of Indus Kush, of early pre-Third Dynasty China, of Canaan and Sumer, and who has synthesized the understanding of these wisdom teachings, taking it beyond an intellectual understanding to bringing it into a functional, applicable way of life that has blessed thousands of people. None other than Ra'un Nefer Amen, affectionately referred to as the Shechem or Shechem, the leader, the king, the great spiritual master, and the founder of the Asarset Society, the founder and CEO of Comedic Legacy, which is our new internet teaching platform that if you're new with us, welcome. We are coming out of the beta phase, and we have some powerful things lined up for you. We are going to spring forth in the spring, and it's going to be incredible for all of you that have been, working with us and also contributing to our spiritual work throughout the world. So I want to bring to the stage right now Ra'u Neframen. He's also the internationally acclaimed author of the Medu Neter series, volumes 1 through 7. He is the one who received the spiritual download of the Medu Neter oracle. And but most importantly, he's a tireless teacher and counselor that has 50 years, over 50 years now, of selfless service to the African American community, to the African European community, to Africans in all throughout the diaspora, and beyond that to all people of the world through his teachings and his work. So let us all give a rousing A round of applause and greetings in the tradition of our ancient Kemetic ancestors. Anech Rak, peace and power to you. Shechem or Shechem, Ra'unef Amen.
Peace and blessings. Hotep, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening, spending time like we used to do back in the winter, spring months of 2024.
So
we're
thank you
back
so much
again.
for being with us today. And we're excited to hear what you're going to share. And I know that you have been busy receiving more downloads, including these powerful courses, one of which is Empower Your Manifestation. And we are going to be talking about that on Thursday. So for those of you in the room, I'm going to give you a link before we leave. Make sure you get that before you leave, because we're going to have another powerful webinar to follow up on the latest download. But Shechem has been busy receiving that, putting the course together, and also publishing another book that I understand is on the way. So we're going to hear about that later on this evening. So Shechem, welcome. And I guess I'd just like to give you the stage first to share with those people, those new students that are here, the inspiration for your course, your Kemetic meditation course, Union with God, and also for those of us that have enjoyed that course so much, your understanding of where we are in the work that you prescribed.
Thank you. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you well.
Very good. So peace and blessings to all of you. I'm delighted to be with you once more again. And as what Dr. Decamo said, we have been busy redesigning our operation, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of this meeting here. So tonight's subject, union with God. It shouldn't really be a strange topic, but in another way it is, you said. But let's adopt a different perspective and make it more familiar. We are all engaged in projects, goal that we're trying to accomplish, survival, enjoyment of life. Yes, that's a good one, enjoyment of life, happiness. We're all pursuing these things in life, and the majority of us in this world, are not, we cannot call ourselves greatly successful or successful at all. And we have been seeking different teachings, yoga, Buddhist, Yoruba, ancient Egyptian, Taoist, the different Western gurus, self-help, like, Napoleon Hill and people like that. And at some point, we become confused. We give up the search and things of that nature. But one of the things is that even though a lot of these systems did not deliver the promise, there was some degree of truth in them all. You see that? So some of you all kept the baby with the baby water, unlike those who threw out the baby along with the baby water. So I expect, my expectation tonight is to give you an insight into, how you can put together a very successful spiritual program for yourself. Lots of people who have been teaching spirituality and success or whatever, cannot present to you, a product that represents their successful application of what they're trying to teach you, meaning that, if somebody makes $1 million, not because they have a product okay, that they have been working on for several years, and they saw it work. The $1 million came from the advertising, and techniques and marketing techniques. That's where the money came from, as opposed to the actual success of the system. So we need to distinguish between successful self-help programs because of advertisement and merchandising and so on, versus programs that are successful. They may not have made a lot of money, but they had the sound and correct teachings. So what I'm sharing with you is, a program that I developed over 50 years of working with, our spiritual community, with students, seeing what works and what did not work, and, how to empower it, make it better, and so on. You see, and what we have come to discover over the years is that of all the different methods and tools that we can use to cultivate wellness and success, there are three pillars. Remember that, three pillars. Like the ancient, I like to, find, the the way of presenting a title for what we are doing, because it makes it easier to keep the information in sight and together. So remember that three pillars of all the things that you can do for your wellness and your success. Three of them play the function of pillars, meaning they are the support of everything else that you're doing. For example, you want to meditate for success and wellness, but there are three pillars that that will enable you to be successful with your meditation. You want to be successful with Qigong. The same three pillars for your meditation will assist you in success in your Qigong. You want to follow, a modern technique for success, the law of, what do you call it? Whatever, I forgot the name, but there's so many of them, and so on. The same three pillars will help you with the different trending manifestation programs that are on the internet and so on. So, what are these three pillars? You see that? These three pillars correspond to certain, hardwired, principles and laws, you see, and functions that have been embedded into nature. You see, things that you must learn and put into operation as a foundation, as a pillar for the work you want to do via meditation or yoga, or law of attraction. Yes, that's what I was looking for, and so on. So the first pillar let me call it, the law of interdependence. You see that? The second pillar is the law of intuition, meaning being taught from within, as opposed to being taught from without a teacher or a book. There's something inside of you that has been teaching all the creatures in the universe that is there to teach you and guide you. Then there is the law of the unlimited power of creativity and accomplishment, you see, of God, you see. So you have these three pillars, meaning that if you learn how to satisfy the law of interdependence, if you learn how to tap into the law of intuition, if you learn how to tap into the unlimited creative power of God, then there's nothing that you can't accomplish. You see that? The only thing that you will not accomplish are things that are outside of your destiny. If it's in your destiny, and most of what you will find in life, you can choose to be that. You can choose to manifest that project, that goal. But many of us find ourselves, talented and educated and skilled, yet we can't get it together. And that's because these three pillars, you see that, are missing. So what I'm teaching you here is nothing new. In yoga, for example, they are the 8 pillars of yoga, meaning that if you want to be successful at yoga, you just can't do mindfulness meditation. You just can't do, the hatha yoga and the breathing. There are 8 pillars of yoga that you have to acquaint yourself with, put in place in order to manifest, that phenomenal, statement by Patanjali that once you learn to still the actions of the mind in everyday life, you will come face to face with God. But it's just not meditating. You have to, bring the other 7 pillars in. So the 3 pillars here that we're talking about, are interdependence is satisfied by you learning about, what we call God's, omnipresence, God's oneness with all. You see that? The presence of God in all things and all things dwelling in God's spirit. You see that? So if you don't know the specific concrete details of the law of interdependence, or the law otherwise called the law of omnipresence, you see that? If you don't know how to work and maneuver around and bring that law into your being, then you are going to be short, you see, and many of the things that you could have been accomplishing. The same thing, the law of intuition, you see, meaning that, you need to know that there is available tutoring from within. We're all familiar with tutoring from the outside, meaning, going to Harvard, going to Brooklyn College, going to Howard University, and so on, getting a mentor. But you need to know that, you see, you can be taught from within. The within you is God dwelling within you, that can be guiding you. So, before we add the third, let's go back and look at what the law of interdependence look like in its fulfillment. You see that God is dwelling in everything. You see that? God is one with everything. The question is, are you one with God? You see that? Are you one with all things? Just stop and say with that question. That's a provocative question. Are you one with everyone in your life? You see that? For many of us, that's a problematic question. It's like, well, I would like to be, but that guy down the hall, makes it, too much of a challenge for me to be one with that person. You see, that's because you have framed the law the wrong way. You see, when you are one with all, you see, that oneness with God comes first and foremost for you being one with God. When you are one with God, you can then share in God's oneness in all things. It's like piggybacking. God is one with Tom, Dick, and Harry. God is one with everyone, Chinese, African, European. God is one with everyone, everything. So think of that as a locomotive running through, the universe, and you are in it. You see, and wherever it goes, you are also there. You see that? So your ticket for oneness with everyone and all things come. It's a free ride you get once you meet the requirements to be one with God. I said once you meet the requirements, mean that you cannot be one with God just by saying so, just by saying that God is one with also different one with you. No, you have to earn the right and the privilege to share in God's presence. You see, to share in that, to benefit from God's presence within you, you have to earn that right. That's common sense. In other words, if you are, an immoral person, and you're not trying to change your immorality, you cannot expect to be walking around in lustrous company, in righteous company. You got to fix yourself first. You see? So there are many spiritual groups and teachings and religions that says, "Oh, God is one with you, the Spirit of God with you." The question is, have you qualified yourself for it? You see that, and don't feel bad because if you cannot really claim once and for all that you know that you have become one with God, it's because nobody taught you that you had to be, in qualification. Nobody taught you that you had to meet requirements and how to do that. You see that? And the teaching that goes, for your oneness with God is to give respect to God. So this course gives you meditation that will teach you and enable you how to give respect to God. What do I mean by giving respect to God? Simple, very simple. If God is within you, if the consciousness of God is dwelling within your spirit, that means that this divine consciousness is witness to everything that you are thinking, every thought that you have accepted. That divine consciousness is witness to it. So remember, right? Remember, back in the old days, unfortunately, it has changed today. Back in the old days, we would never, accept a negative thought or a curse or whatever in the presence of a grandmother. The certain codes of behavior that you would, observe in the presence of certain distinguished and respectful company. That's common sense. You see that if there's a great entity in your midst that is not about cursing and talking, and doing incorrect things and so on, you have to give respect to that great presence. You see that? So you have to learn the laws of God. There are 11 laws of God that you have to learn if you're to manifest in order to give respect to God, meaning not break these laws in the presence, of God. So many of us are not aware that God is dwelling, God's consciousness is dwelling in our soul, in our spirit, and we are dwelling in God's spirit. You see that? Okay? And everybody is dwelling in God's spirit. That's the beautiful thing. You're dwelling, but are you being acknowledged? Are you acknowledging? Are you meeting the requirement? Let's go back to that a little later. Another power that God has is unlimited knowledge. You see that? Omniscience, omniscience. Because everything that is was made by God, and God knew it before God made it. Hey, simple. 2 plus 2 is 4. God knows all things because all things are made by God, and God made those things. He knew those things before she made it. But the wonderful thing is that if you learn how to fulfill those requirements to share in God's, omniscience, God's unlimited wisdom and knowledge, then you can therefore begin to solve your problem. You see? So the question is, how do you see, um, meet the requirements of sharing in God's, wisdom? Let's look at look at nature. We find, for example, that the beaver has a marvelous knowledge of engineering, that it uses to build the dams. Same thing with the bees, building their hives, the social order with a queen bee. And all the creatures in this earth know how to build their social order. Where did they learn it from? You see that? And we talk about science and the learned arts of humanity. You know, um, Professor Ben Buchanan used to say that you know he gave himself his PhD. He said the first man that was a PhD had to give himself that PhD, meaning that everything that man knows first came through God, revealing it to somebody who then passed it on to everybody else. In other words, there was a first man that came up with a science of equation. There was a first woman, who came up with the knowledge of medicine and so on. Oh, yes, yes, women were at the forefront of medicine, while the men were, so-called surgeons. They were butchering up, cutting up cadavers and so on, while the women were prescribing herbs and healing, etc., etc. Then they took it over and created, the drug pharma companies. But let's get back to what I'm saying here, and that is that when you look around in nature, how does that bee know? How does that butterfly know that, if it goes to get honey in the flower, it will also, pollinate that flower. You see that, and up the chain, provide food for the entire planet. You see that. It's a wonderful system. So this phenomenal wisdom and knowledge that we find in nature is nothing else but a revelation of how God created and designed this world. Things working together, phenomenal engineering and architectural wisdom. So the question is, you have to give respect to God. That's all you have to do. Give respect to God's wisdom. How do you not do that? You give more respect to the knowledge that you get in school, the knowledge you get, the knowledge you get in school, the knowledge you get in universities, the knowledge you get from people around you. You respect that and revere that more than you respect the knowledge from God. Most of you don't even seek it. And most of you who learn how to seek it, you still defer more to man's knowledge than the knowledge that God has given you. You see that? Okay? And a very sad thing has happened today where people are giving more value to artificial intelligence, okay, instead of developing further the knowledge that God and the ability to know and figure that God has given you. All of these things can do is apply, faster than most human can, apply what men program into the artificial intelligence program. But they're walking around saying, oh, this artificial intelligence is superior to the intelligence that God has given us. Well, stop programming the AI and you will find. Right now, the AI, people are parroting the works of artists and scientists and literary people to teach these machines, these algorithms, how to simulate, the mental operations, of God. But they don't touch the truth, and that is right now within your brain, there are millions of operations taking place per second, which makes AI, pebble, on the beach. You see that? So stop and think about it. Give respect to God's knowledge. Seek God's knowledge first and give the credit to God. Very few people, know how to give gratitude to God for what they have learned and what they've accomplished and so on. And that's because you haven't been taught how to meditate, you see, to awaken the intuitive source within you. You see that? Okay? So now we come to God's omnipotence, meaning that God's unlimited power of creativity. When we look at this universe, with galaxies of galaxies of galaxies, millions or billions of star systems, meaning, trillions and trillions plus trillions of stars and planets in the universe with no end. That is the awesome power of God. But what are people doing? People are relying more on their own limited abilities and the limited abilities of machines to accomplish their goals. I'm not saying, that you should not use these machines and these algorithms or whatever. Use them alongside, the wisdom and the blessing that God has given to you, and in your meditation and prayers, learn to give thanks to God. You see that? And as for the law of omnipresence, the oneness with God, because all of these laws work together, meaning the omnipresence of God works within you. You see, which means that you have to watch the thoughts that you accept. You see that? If you walk around saying, I did wrong because I'm only a human being. No, you're not a human being. You're a divine being. You were made in the image and likeness of God. So if you walk around saying that, you did wrong, you can't do right because you're only human, you're denying, you see, what God has done for you. No, life can be tough and challenging. Take time, make time to learn to cultivate your divinity. You have the ancient teachings from ancient Egypt, from Taoist China, from ancient India, and so on. So learn, take time. If you have the right program like the one we're giving you, we're talking about 30 to an hour, 5-6 days a week, if not every day. Listen. So I have more to unpack with you, but let's take some questions right now, or starting with you at all, and whoever you want to appoint. Last questions.
Yeah, well, I just want to start. I just want to start sharing as a person who's been fortunate to be your student for quite a while, almost 4 decades, and this course, Union with God, has been so powerful for my person. It's not that the information was so new, the Hekau we worked with and so on, but this application, the practical application, and in reading and studying and sharing other systems of spirituality, everyone agrees that God is omnipresent, for example, but how that actually is applicable to how we live our life every day, I've never seen it clearly explained and so well reasoned as you will in this course. You don't have to suspend your reasoning power to believe in something. It makes so much sense. And just on a personal note, I've had experience after experience after experience of the omnipresence of God. This happened again today. It happened 2 weeks ago when I came across a person who I had met some time ago who was homeless, and he was now doing his own business or whatever. And knowing the signs and signatures, the spirits said for me to give him some money, and a significant amount of money I've never given to anyone. And within 4 or 5 days of doing that, of following that, someone else came up and handed me double that amount of money. I mean, just uncanny. Just today, I had a thought this morning about something that I need to write. And within about 3 hours, someone walked up to me who I haven't seen in a few years, and just out of her mouth spoke exactly the topic that I was contemplating, and gave me, a title and such an insightful word. So this is happening on a regular basis, if not daily, every other day, seeing the presence of God manifesting through people, as you've taught us in this course, that God works through all of us, and even those that may not be consciously working on themselves or even living the laws, become, or they're vessels through which God can speak to you. So I just want to say, Dwa, thank you for your continued work at bringing these very, very high principles into a form that we can apply and we can see tangible results, so clearly. We do have a couple of testimonials. We have Sister, well, let's start with Chekamakaru, says that he's been doing the Union with God meditation since the winter solstice, and he's been experiencing wonderful results exponentially. A long time life challenge has been greatly improved. We also have Ankara Musatsurin, who says they've been blessed to overcome many obstacles and violations. We know what you mean by violations when you become aware of the knowledge of the divine law and you recognize that there's things in our behavior that violate, our oneness with God and so on, you have to really work to transcend that. So he said he's overcome many of those violations, too many to list. Let's suffice it to say, I see happiness. Very good. And we have Sister Kayam Harry Hatir from Chicago, who speaks about an experience that she had in working with one of the modules in the Ma'at 11 Laws course. That's the OSET, for those of you that are not aware, for healing from a life-threatening disease. She said she worked with it for 3 months every single day, and it resulted in the healing of her body. She even came out of a surgery chanting the Oset mantra, and the doctors and nurses were amazed by the healing process. The Osirian work is magical healing, and you will see the results in your life. Dua Natir.
Can I say something before you get some more testimonials?
Mm-hmm.
The science of it, of your omnipresence, the omnipresence of God, is that God's consciousness dwells in the spirit of everyone. So if we are one with God, then we are dwelling with God in the spirit of other people. So how will that manifest itself every day? We have experienced that without knowing that it is a manifestation of this great miracle.
Mm-hmm.
If you have been blessed by having somebody come to rescue you, somebody who's a stranger that doesn't know you and doesn't know that you needed something, but gives it to you, maybe some piece of advice that was life-changing. Out of the blue, some stranger walked up and said a few words to you, change your life forever.
Mm-hmm.
I had that experience when I was very young, and I lost my apartment, and I moved into a hotel, and my paycheck was late one day. I was renting a room in a hotel, on a weekly basis, and my check was late. And the auditor of the hotel, it's Italian guy, no Irish guy, doesn't know me at all. He says, you're a good man. He didn't know that. He said, you're a good man. So look, here's the key for another apartment you can go, another room you can go. Okay, since you cannot pay, your bill, and your room has been locked, here's the key to another room. Just be out of there by 6 a.m. And that happened for 3 days. He said, not only with him, but with another of the other woman who took over and they didn't know me. But they said, you're a good man. I said, where did I come from? Years later, I said, oh, that was God, that hooked me up with these people for them to help me. And that has taught me to help others once the impulse or the revelation came, to give them that help, because I know who's talking. So this course will help you to identify. People will be surprised how many magical things are happening that they're not recognizing and talking about, because those are not the kind of things that are trending in this world today. You see that. But with this course, I will expect that we can form some type of session, maybe through Zoom or whatever, where people who are taking this course can come together and share these ideas without somebody saying, I think you're going crazy.
That is so true. I remember years ago, you said that when you strive to live the truth and respect God and the divine law, whatever you need to know will either come through you or it'll come to you. And it's so true. People will just walk up to you, or you just find yourself in certain places. And I had another situation when I was working with this course where I had a health challenge, and thought came to me clearly. I really need to know why this is happening to me. And within a day or so, I was on YouTube, and I'm telling you, the spirit can work through computers too, because I didn't press anything. And all of a sudden, a video started playing, and the person was speaking within 30 seconds about the exact symptoms that I was having and what caused it. So, I mean, it's just like they say in Osiris set, you can't make it up. We have another testimonial here. This is Quinson Kilgore says the meditations are empowering and keeps you accountable on all levels, especially from a spiritual standpoint. I've had countless instances of the God in others connecting, helping, and sharing with the God in myself. Once you acknowledge God's presence, you can see how God is working in your life through your intuition. Oops. Through your intuition and through others. Do I need to purchase the course again for Tuesday's meeting? No, you don't. If you're already enrolled in that, and I have just been using last year's. Yep. So you're good, Quincy. You will be invited to the meditation, and you're going to hear more about additional information that is available to us now. There's a question there, and then we have Nebatep, who says, applying these techniques has empowered me to rise above the grief of having lost my eldest two sons to gun violence. That stranger that came along was the sage himself. How did he know that I would need this? And Carlton says, slowly removing and replacing the triggers to aggressive thoughts. I couldn't achieve this without these courses. Really helped in the years before I retired. And he gives thanks. So we do have a couple of questions in here. Shekma, if you'd like to take them.
Of course.
So Burned, I'm about to pronounce that right. If our final destiny is to become an Osir man, respectively, or Osir woman, how do you integrate this in the meditation script? I can't think of a worldly reward. What is your recommendation?
Well, first of all, you got to understand that the purpose of the mundane part of life, that's where we enjoy life. You see that? And you have to learn to value the enjoyment of a pure and clean life. There's nothing wrong with enjoying happiness and being happy, meaning joyful no matter what is going on. You see that? And once you achieve that goal, you're able to help others. You see that? Don't forget that you're not going to achieve your spiritual goal and forget about the billions of people that need, your blessings. If all that you can do for the remaining billions is to meditate on their behalf and or be the example of divinity, you see, or be the vessel of God's wisdom coming through, you see, then now that is, the importance of becoming an Osir. You see that? Meaning a divine being.
Mm-hmm. And Quran says, so is it fair to say, okay, it's okay to come as you are, but not stay there? I think Quran is speaking about one of the questions that I did want to raise. A lot of folks ask, when you say that God is within everyone, God is present within everyone, how do we deal with the transgressors and people in our life who are clearly and consciously committed to a life of evil, oppressing others, and so on?
Well, God is present in the spirit, the soul of the transgressor, but God's not blessing that person. You see that? God is there in everyone as part of the technical reality that there can be no place that is outside of God's consciousness. doesn't mean that God is blessing that person. You understand that?
Mhm.
God is there waiting for that person if and when in this life or another life is to come to the truth.
Mhm.
You see? So you have to understand that.
Mhm. And those that are deeply entrenched in evil, doing things clearly to destroy the lives of others, um, is there a redemption for them?
Well, in the Kemetic systems, there's a nature called Herikuhute, which is a faculty of spirit that corresponds to the fifth sphere of the tree of life, the Patnateru. And that's the faculty that governs karmic, or the law of, of consequences, actions and reactions. You see, so when a person does wrong, and you got to understand that our lives is not um, matters of, you know, um, 70, 80, 90 years on earth. There is a repetition of birth. There's a reincarnation and reincarnation, and you have to understand that the eventual goal of life is for every man and woman over a period, evolutionary period of several, hundreds of thousands of years to eventually realize the divinity in one incarnation or another. You see that?
Hmm.
So when that person has done a transgression, they will have their reckoning. If not in this life, in another life that they reincarnate, or in the future, etc., etc. You see that?
Mhm.
So you see that. So the thing is that when somebody does you wrong, you have your challenge then to monitor your thinkings and your feelings, okay, to be at peace and enjoy the peace while you leave that person's destiny and the consequences of their actions to the law of man and to the law of God.
Mhm.
You see that? And if they escape the law of man, because there are many mundane laws that, even though they're lawful, they're immoral, and allow the transgressors to steal from you and get away with taking and doing harm to you. You see that? But you protect yourself against real suffering by, you know, um, working on your divinity. It's not what others do to you, it's how you respond to it. Because there's certain things that some people will not be able to prevent others from doing to them. That's life. You see that?
Mhm.
But no matter what somebody does to you, you have the power to remain peaceful and enjoy that peace. You see that? And that's what you have to, and in doing that, it's just not a matter of being peaceful, because once you are joyful in being peaceful in the midst of adversity, you have created an unstoppable power within you. And the question is, what kind of such a power within you do? I can't, I don't want to talk about it. What would you do? The Chinese speak about the qi and the qigong, but that's the external qigong. There's an internal qigong. You see that, okay? Which is based on meditation, okay? And the way to cultivate that inner qi force is by living the laws, the 11 laws of God. And once you get to the highest point, which is to maintain your peace in the midst of people transgressing, against you. Okay, that enjoyment of that peace
Mhm.
becomes a mighty unstoppable power within you. And what will you do with that power? It will come to you.
Mhm. True. A lot of appreciation in the chat. Let's see. We have yes, peaceful in the midst of adversity. And Learner Earner says where to start. in the beginning of the courses. So yes, we have multiple courses. Well, I guess we'll talk about that at the end. Um, during this time frame of these unions with God courses, $10,000 of my college tuition was dropped, and I never even applied for relief. I just received an email that said that they were being terminated. Woot woot, all is gone just like that.
Hey, God is within him. God knew it's him, right? The brother speaking.
Yeah, at least this
Huh?
at least Alyssa.
Oh, her,
Sister
right?
Alyssa.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so God is within her. God knows that she has his debt and needs it to be removed. So she didn't have, the Christians have a version of this, and it says, that God knows what you need, and your blessings are reserved in heaven for you. You see? But unfortunately, this beautiful saying, the Christian tradition didn't tell you how to qualify to cash in and get that money back. We give you tools.
So Tonette asks, is there a book reference for the laws of God? I'm not talking about the Bible, something else that breaks it down.
Well, we have the 11 laws of God, right? And, we had some re-editing problems that will be, I can finally say, I'm in the midst of, reformatting it because, once we did that, all the indexes and everything got changed around. You see that? So, but in a week or 2 weeks or so, it should be back on the shelves.
All right, so that's Ma'at, the 11 Laws of God, the book, and you'll be able to pick that up through the Comedic Legacy website. Also, a person here asked about the Empower Your Manifestation. That's the name of the course that we'll be speaking about on Thursday, and there is also a book. And
Yeah,
that
well,
book,
since the empowering manifestation, is based on affirmations, affirmation scripts, and they don't involve meditation because there's too many things to tackle through manifestations. That is best to do it through affirmation scripts as opposed to meditation. So I'm weighing, okay, perhaps it may not be the best thing to do as a course. You see that? Because of course, we're just going to duplicate what they're getting in the book. And the book is at the printers now and will be ready, by the end of this week here. Would have been ready last week, but something funny happened between my work and my Word and my Adobe PDF, software. They just went crazy. I submitted the file, and I got a call back from the printer saying, some of your pages are all over the place. You know, the text is going all over the place. I said, how would that be? So, but that's been fixed already.
all right. So as I said at the outset, we're going to be springing forward. I know a lot of you have been waiting for that book. Someone else is asking if the 11 laws will be available in the UK internationally.
Of course.
And how can we use the 11 laws to increase abundance? We have an entire course around that. It's called Ma'at, 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success. And you can also get that on our Comedic Legacy platform. And we also have a podcast with hours of lectures around various topics, such as your productivity, wealth, and overcoming grief, and so on. So we'll make sure we leave you that as well. Welcome. That's a new person to Comedic Legacy. And we have a testimonial. Person says, I give thanks for your presence today. I am learning to become more at peace, even in the midst of chaos. There is no need to reciprocate negativity from someone that intends to harm.
Well, yeah, that's very important to understand that when there's chaos all around you, or even if it's a small, subtle, jab, it's important to remain peaceful because if you get upset, you're damaging you now. If if you're going to respond with anger, and the will to hurt the transgressor, you have to develop that ill feeling within you. You see that anger makes you sick. So if you're angry, and you are projecting that anger or expressing that anger, you are cultivating that force within you. That's why it doesn't make any sense. Now, if you remain, somebody does you wrong and you are smiling outwardly or inwardly, you see, and enjoying it, okay, you are sending an energy that will, you know, correct that person's behavior. Many of us have experienced that. You see that? And if it doesn't correct the person, then it's between that person and God, and for lots of people, they get a divine spanking from God, not from us. Because what you want is the person to leave you alone, not mess with your stuff. You see, and you're not going to get that if you indulge the anger, because once you indulge the anger, you're damaging yourself. You see that in the book that's coming out this weekend, and we had the webinar on Thursday, Empower Your Manifestations. One of the salient point of the book is that what you call virtues, righteousness, being kind, being honest, being sincere. These are what they call virtues. And in the book, I gave a lot of information how manifesting and cultivating these virtues makes your brain secrete endorphins, and dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin, which are brain chemicals that begin to flood your body and heal your body, improve your cognitive abilities, your IQ, help you to meditate better. In other words, if I'm kind to somebody who has done me wrong, genuinely kind to that person, my brain is secreting, dopamine and serotonin and all of those neurotransmitters and endorphins or whatever that's going to make me smarter and better, and healthier. Is somebody walking around saying, be unkind to me so I can be kind to you.
So along that line,
that's taken a bit too far, but you get the point.
I don't know if we want to make a T-shirt with that one.
Well, it will work in the T-shirt now. Yeah, the knowers in this world will buy it up.
So we have a young brother who has a question. He said, if you have committed transgressions against others or divine law in the past, but have corrected your behavior through meditation scripts and living truth, does that lessen the blow of karma or change it at all?
Changes it. Pure and simple. Yeah. Pure and simple. In other words, there's no benefit, in holding a grief against your person. You see that? For doing wrong when you didn't know. You didn't know it was wrong, or you didn't know how to resist. But once you learn and you did it, you are now clean. You're pure. You see that? You're sanctified, as they say back in the old church.
And yes, appreciate you, Brother Thomas, who says that he's currently working on the 11 Laws of God course. It is changing his life from one of reactability to a life of responsibility. And he says he is grateful. So, Shechem, I know you have some plans for working with the students again, as you did in this course, with many guided meditations and sessions that are there for recording. So those of you who are going to be joining us in this work, you have a lot of hand holding and examples and coaching within the course in these course member only sessions, but we're actually going to be having one next Tuesday, a week from tonight. So do you want to share with the audience here about what we're going to be focusing on next week in the guided meditation?
Yes, the reason for the main technique, the main tool that we use in the course is meditation. In the Western world, there's this, misconception that people do wrong because they don't know. So if I inform them, if I give them information, that's enough to help them change. No, you did wrong. You're doing the wrong things because certain faculties in your spirit are dormant. You see that? Certain faculties in your psyche are dormant. That's why the ancient approach is energy-based. You chant certain words of power. You do certain breath work. It's energy working on energy, not words working on energy. Energy sources within you. The words can help direct and modify and assist guiding, but energy is what works. You see that? And we live in a culture that never learned how to cultivate the life force, the energy, the psyche, the spirit, the soul within you, which are all energy vehicles. You see that? So, the master piece in this course is the head cow, the word of power that arouses, the faculty of the spirit that enables you to connect with God. We call it Oser. In the Hindu tradition, it's called the Ajna chakra, and so on. And in the Yoruba tradition, is Obatala. And, all of these ancient traditions they recognize, these psychic and spiritual centers within us. You see, so the meditation will help you to awaken that faculty, the first spirit, the tree of life, Kether. You see that? Or Oser. Okay, so once you awaken that faculty within you, that faculty will go to work. You see that? To enable you to respond in a divine way, you see, to challenges in life and enable you to therefore cement your oneness with God. You see that? Cement your union with God. So the meditation, you see, goes beyond just simply informing you, is to embed into your psyche, into your mind, into your spirit, through the awakening of this faculty. You have a faculty that knows everything about oneness with God, everything about oneness with all, but it cannot broadcast this truth to your mind or broadcast it to your psyche, your soul, because that faculty is closed, is slumbering. Once you wake it up, it sends a message down to this mind. It sends experience it as intuition. It sends a message down to the psyche, and it's experienced as intuition and motivation to do the right thing. You see that? Talk. There's a saying out there that says, "A talk don't cook the food," and that's what all that some people know. They go and they copy through some other spiritual books, and then they create their online course, but all they're doing is rehashing, the same information that they read somewhere. We're not rehashing stuff that I read somewhere. I'm awakening a faculty within you that's waiting to teach you and guide you and motivate you without further words. The words will come from within you.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Maybe he got it from somewhere, but eventually the first person who wrote those truths got it from within herself or within himself. And that's what we have to get back to. The source of the inner voice within you.
So, Shekhar, you mentioned the psyche, and one of the other questions that was earlier on was understanding the difference between the spirit and the soul, or the psyche. Would you share that with us?
Yeah, the psyche or the soul is a lower spirit. Is a part of you that is very much connected with your physiological functions. Okay, so it therefore has a lot of the evolutionary material, from past generations. There's an animality, an animal nature to the soul. You see that? So they can be an evil soul or and a loving soul. You see that because it's all intertwined. It is our soul that guides us, and instinctively. The word instinct, meaning animal response. But the spirit is a higher part of your being. You see that? And that's all divine. That gives you the laws, and motivates you to live the laws and guides you to live the law. And it helps you to rise above what is negative in the human part of which you call the soul. So, and unfortunately, there's not much teaching about that in the Western literature, that lets you understand that the soul or the psyche, they're synonymous in different languages. Okay. So when you study psychology, you are studying the Western knowledge of the soul. And you know that as far as psychology is concerned, there are positive things and negative things in the psyche or in the soul. So you want to know how to improve, the positive things of the soul or the psyche. And that's what virtues, cultivating virtues, which the Hindus call the Dharma, Dharma, the Dharma. You see, and the people who are making lots of money teaching yoga on the internet, they neglect to tell their students or their clients that there can be no realization of yoga if you don't make Dharma, which is one of the 8 pillars of yoga, if you also don't teach the Dharma, along with the yoga and the breath work and things of that nature, and so on. But it's there in the books, in the Hatha, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the sutras of Patanjali is there written. But people today ignore it because there's a cheaper, less troublesome path to making money on the internet. So they just diminish it, dilute it, and give you a version and so on. That's why I'm giving people the truth. I could have been rich like all of these other influencers or whatever, but you can't politicize and monetize is the spirituality.
So, second, while you were on that subject, Abbas Ra asked if you could explain the different forms of of Shivas in the spirit and how they differ from Shiva in the divine form in the Sahasrara chakra, as well as
Well,
Shiva.
there's too much to unpack to that question, but you should go on the internet, Amazon, and see if you can find yourself a copy of the Shiva Samhita. Shiva, Shiva, Samhita, Samhita. The Shiva Samhita will give you the lowdown on Shiva, because right now, if you go to the open, Hindu, literature on Shiva, there is a negative portrayal and a positive portrayal. If the negative portrayal came from the invaders of India once they wanted to denigrate the old, you know, religion that was there of the black people, in which case all the goddesses were demoted, okay, and Shiva was, but Kali were made to the demons, demoniac like, and people who do nothing but smoke ganja all day long, and and so on. But read the Shiva Samhita, you will get an understanding of what Shiva really is. Shiva is the ancient, Dravidian counterpart of Osir.
Mhm,
You see that?
mhm. So maybe we can just take two more. A person asked earlier when you spoke about the omniscience of God and how we need to value, um, along with the earthly education and so on, um, asking and receiving guidance from God. And they asked, how can you distinguish when it is guidance from God as opposed to, I guess they would mean our own mind? How do we know? And another person asked
Good,
about people
good
with.
question.
Mhm.
Yeah. You just don't cultivate one tool. You got to cultivate different approaches and different courses, whatever. So once you learn the 11 laws, you see, and in this new book coming out this week, and Empire Manifestation, there's a chapter that speaks about, how do you know when you look like God, when you have
Mhm.
a divine presentation? So it goes through the laws, that when you're thinking, your thoughts and your words and your behavior portray you as a divine being,
Mhm.
then you are looking at God. So the 11 laws will serve as a yardstick by which to measure the intuitions, the revelation that come to you, the thoughts that drift into your awareness. But that's how intuition comes. You see that? These are thoughts that drift into your awareness. So when those thoughts, are in harmony with divine law, then you know it is, you can trust it. You see
Mhm.
that?
Mhm.
Okay. If it contradicts divine law, then you have to cast it aside. You see
Mhm.
that? And if it's neither divine law or not divine law, then it is meaningless. It's just simply trivial thought coming to you. So ignore it.
So second, people that have an obvious inner genius that is enabling them to create things, to invent things, to bring forth things into the world, but those things wind up being harmful to the world in the whole of scope of things. Again, how would you distinguish ahead of time that what you're receiving is of, a divine origin, that it would serve the whole, as opposed to, maybe solve one
If,
problem and create multiple more.
okay, you're going through life and you get a revelation on how to invent a better mousetrap, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's not knowing whether this is come from a good source or a bad source. The question is, what use are you going to put this information to? You see that? What use are you going to put the blessings, the monetary blessings you get from this information? So that is what you have to understand. You see that? If what's coming to you is going to harm others, then you know to reject it.
Hmm.
If it could be, like a double-edged sword, then now deep meditation over time will let you know whether you should use or reject. You see that? Yeah, the other thing too, that's why in the, you got to understand that spirituality, it's not like a one or two tools. It's a whole society of priests and priestesses, and people with different skill sets and things of that nature. And one of the most important skill sets in a spiritual society, are the priests and priestesses that have mastered the oracles. So you do spiritual reading to comment on whether you should accept this gift from the Spirit, whether you should um, publicize this particular thing that has come to you. And you will be told succinctly, without doubt, what to do with it. For example, I am um, a spiritual teacher for the past 51 years. I didn't start off trying to be a spiritual teacher. I was a pianist, concert pianist at Mannes College of Music. I got in on a scholarship. Imagine in 1963, a black man getting a scholarship at Mannes College of Music as a piano major. You see that? And that's what I was supposed to be, a concert pianist. And I met, Sun Ra, the jazz pianist in Harlem. I remember Baraka's, class for poetry and that he had there, and dramatic writings. And Sun Ra says that he wrote music with the I Ching. I say, you write music? He said, I throw the coins and I let that guide me to write my music. I was like, okay, fine, I got to get this book. I'm downtown, I bought me copy of Blofeld's, I Ching, and studied it, read it, and once I understood how to use it, my first question is, you know, uh, let me know what is my destiny. I got the 26 hexagram. It told me to forget about, music and all these great talents that you have to make great monies and fame, and dedicate yourself to helping and guide others into spirituality. I didn't know nothing about spirituality in those days. You know, it took me 3 years to accept that reading.
Mm.
You see that? Were it not for that spiritual guidance, you will be sitting here tonight with me at Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center applauding me play, one of the Rhapsodies by Brahms or Scherzos by Chopin, which to me would be a great loss.
Go on the chair, we
So there are
say.
other tools that you have to get, the other tools in spirituality that you have to get involved in. You got to learn about spiritual readings. You see that in the proper oracle system. Forget about tarot, I Ching, the Dunatir, and so on.
Mhm. All right. Well, let's see if we can get one more question in before we need to close Shechem Shechem and get some instruction on for those of us that want to be prepared for next week. Sister Kate asks about mentally ill people. If they are not aware of themselves, living a rudimentary life, I guess she means being able to function and take care of their own, um, you know, selves, how can they be aware of God and why God needs them?
And what does God do what?
And why does God need them?
What does God need the mentally ill?
Yes.
Well, I will not use that question. Okay. That
Mhm.
God needs the mentally ill. Okay. People become mentally ill due to perhaps errors that society has made, intoxicating the environment. A lot of people become mentally ill because, they eat food, in aluminum pots that has been shown to damage the brain and is behind is a source of Alzheimer's. Lead, destroys the lives of many young people. Uh, Unkind, negative behavior of parents and friends, traumatizing young people, abusing young people, things of that nature. There are all of these things that people do that leads to mental illness of one kind or another. And it's not that God needs this, okay? But for those of us who are following spirituality, it becomes our job now to let people know that they have to learn to do meditations on behalf of the mentally ill. The mentally ill person will lack the inner organization to do their own meditations. So you have to take time out of your day to do meditations on their behalf. Take time to do things, earthly things to help these people, and also become an advocate against the abuse of people, young and old, that leads to mental illness. You see that? For you to take time to look into, go on the internet and look up different herbs and nootropics and nutrients, nutraceutics, whatever that can help, mental illness. For example, you will find that saffron, which is a spice or whatever. If you look it up, you find that it is used alongside and sometimes rivaling certain, um, medications for depression and anxiety. You see
Mm,
that?
mm,
Okay. And there are many other herbs and things of that nature that can help these people. And of course, none of that should ever be given to a mental ill person without advice from your doctor. So remember what I'm saying, the caveat here. I'm just letting you understand that there are things, when for the mental ill around us, and unfortunately, it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, you find that the algorithms in social media has been they have adjudicated that it's driving a lot of kids crazy.
mm,
It's messing up their well-being, and they're trying to pass laws against these algorithms. What social media is doing. There's a saying in Africa, that when somebody has gone astray, lost their mind, or has become evil, we don't ask what's wrong with that person. We ask what's wrong with us. What
mm,
did we do wrong that's causing that person to go wrong?
mm,
You see that? So
mhm,
the mental ill is something that we all, have to pitch in and deal with. You see, for example, alcohol, there's no such thing as a safe amount of alcohol. Are you ready and willing to give up alcohol to keep people from getting cancer and going crazy? Because alcohol is a solvent that damages, the fatty tissues in the brain. You see that? So the people who are mentally ill for whatever reason, it's a challenge to you. Give up alcohol. Give up, mainlining sugar. Give up the things that you know damages people's brain. You see that? Do something about it. Become an advocate. So
mhm,
that has to be the response that we have to get involved in,
mhm,
because it's a tragic thing. And the mental ill person, lots of them are aware that they have a problem, and they're living in anguish. They're living, depressed over the fact that they are aware that they don't have all of the facilities of the brain that other people have. They're aware of
mm,
it.
mm. Thank you for
They have
that.
those moments.
Mm. So Shechem, we're running against the clock here. We have over 400 people in the webinar room and a number of people on the internet platforms. Can you share with us, for those of us that are already in the course, Union with God, and also those of us that have just come into the knowledge of this course today, what you would suggest we do in preparation for the next steps, next week's guided meditation, and things to come after.
Well, they can take an assessment. They can open up the course and take an assessment of the things that they claim they were going to work on, and determine where they are in that. Did they fulfill it? And try to understand why they didn't, accomplish it, why they didn't keep up with it, and things of that nature, so that we can give them some additional tips. You see that, you know, once we come together.
And for next week's meditation, are there any things particulars that we need to prepare?
No, no, because there are too many different divergent, interests, going on. So I cannot give any hints as to what people should do.
Okay. So
Yes,
we
sir.
will make sure that if you're in the course, you're going to get a message, an email. And those of you that are on SoundWise, you'll get a messaging through the app as to how to connect so that you can get on board with us next Tuesday night. That's going to be at 8 p.m. for a guided meditation for subscribers to Union with God. So thank you so much, Shechem. We do have some questions that I'll answer about orders and how to contact us. when we leave, we want to give thanks to you for spending this hour and a half with us tonight and all of your tireless work to develop the Comedic legacy. Oh, and also tomorrow, Thursday night, we'll be talking about the Empower Your Manifestation. So I don't know if you want to share a few words with folks that are not familiar with that course as to why they would want to get enrolled in that as well, and how that interfaces with the work they're doing in with union with God.
Well, manifestations, it's a concept that's trending on the internet right now. And it's telling us about the process by which your thoughts and your desires become physical reality. It's, in other words, I have a desire, a want or a need to buy a home. The inner process, the mental process, the psychical process that occur in my brain, in my psyche, in my mind, to make that desire, that intention become a physical reality. We call that manifestation. Yes, sir. And when you go on the internet, you find that the current approach to making your manifestations come true is by repeating affirmations over and over and over. Repetition, if you look it up in the internet and Google it, you find that repeating something over and over and over empowers it, gives power to it. You see that? It makes it actionable. You see? The problem is that that power is much, much less and less effective than other spiritual means that you could be using. You see that? To activate and strengthen the process to realize, to manifest your desires and your needs in life. So this book coming out this weekend here, the end of this week, is devoted to giving you the clues, you see, and giving you affirmations that you can learn, that you can develop the virtues. The word virtues, the root of the word virtues is vir. Vir means power, virility, strength. So when you are, for example, kind to somebody because they're not as fast or cognizant or aware as you are, so you have no patience with that person, so you speak unkindly and so forth, you are doing two things to yourself. Number one, you're damaging your health, okay, because your brain is secreting, certain neurotransmitters that are negative to your being, instead of creating positive, neurotransmitters within you, and you're also damaging that person that you've been unkind. It's just not that you are damaging the social aspect of your connections. It's that you are the psychical, your neurotransmitters, your nervous system, okay, your immune system, all that becomes damaged and so on. So, when you want to become more successful to achieve your goals, you want to be, you don't want to just simply work on one or two or three or 10 affirmations. You want to work on a project that will make you a spiritual person.
Mm.
It's the difference. You can positive here and there, a number of things you worked on, or you can do something that would make you a positive person. So you don't have to, you automatically begin to think positively, automatically act positively. But you will also benefit from all these new powerful brain chemicals that are now healing your brain and your heart, your nervous system, your immune system, and so on. So your protection from COVID and the flu is just not simply the drugs that they're giving you and the vaccines and so on. You also have to, make yourself more virtuous or righteous, as is said from another perspective, more spiritual. Then you become a successful being as opposed to be success at this and at that. People ask me, about my success. How am I able to write books on homeopathy, qigong, Chinese medicine, yoga, the mantras, ancient Egyptian spirituality. How am I write on all of the different topics, not having studied with anybody. Intuition. It's, God will talk to you through you. But you have to fix your being first. You got to fix that body, that mind, and that side. And that's what I'm giving you people the keys.
All right. So let's hear it in the chat here for Ra'u Neframen. 51 years of work. You want to say Dwanite for Brother Sun Ra. He was hanging in Philly. I don't know if he's from Philadelphia. Brother Sun Ra for sharing that E King insight. We're heavily indebted to him, and that you were receptive enough to follow that and go down this great path that so many people have enjoyed. So we want to thank you again for spending this time with us tonight and for developing these courses. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night when we talk about empowering your manifestations. Check your emails to get a new link. Actually, I did put it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat as we close. So let us all greet in the words of our ancestors, the words of peace and power. Shekem Shekem Ra'u Neframen. Anecharak Shekem Shekem. Blessings of peace to you and your family. And we look forward to seeing you again shortly.
And the book Empower Your Manifestation will be ready for shipping this weekend. So they can place their orders through the website.
Wonderful. So those of you that have been waiting and had ordered before, we will be shipping out to you shortly.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, another wonderful night. I want to thank everybody for coming out. And those of you that shared and helped to spread the word, we had a huge turnout. And we know we're helping more and more people with this powerful source of comedic meditation and healing. So those of you that ask questions about getting in touch with us, if you have any orders that you are waiting for, well, you got some updates on the Empower Your Manifestation book. If there's anything else, you need to send a message to help@comediclegacy.com. I'm going to put that in the chat for you. Or info@comediclegacy.com. Or you can send an email to osarosetpa@gmail.com. So reach out to us. We'll make sure that we get your questions answered, and any orders that need to be straightened out, we'll get you straight. So once again, I put in the chat the link for Empower Your Manifestations. And also we will be sending out emails so that you'll be able to register. And I hope to see each of you again this Thursday night. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Blessings of peace.
Higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The time's come for me to change the way I think. change the way I feel. For me to go beyond what everybody thinks, what everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility. And here I'm gonna stay until I find my place, my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher.